If you enjoyed this story, subscribe and take another step closer to the dark archives. Don't forget to show your support by liking and commenting. My name is Thomas Merrick. I'm a sheriff with the Mariposa County Sheriff's Department, and I've been working the mountains around Yosemite National Park for 22 years. When you spend that long patrolling wilderness, you think you've seen everything. Lost hikers, bear attacks, drug operations hidden in remote valleys. I thought I understood my jurisdiction. I thought I knew what was possible in these mountains. I was wrong. What happened on October 17th, 2024, taught me that some places operate by rules older than any law. Some places remember, some places hunger, and some places have learned to call us in our own voices. It started at 2:47 a.m. with a call that shouldn't have been possible. I was finishing paperwork when the radio crackled. Unit 7, this is dispatch. We have an active emergency signal. Can you respond? Carla's voice had an edge I'd never heard. She'd been our dispatcher 8 years, calm through every crisis. But this was different. This is Unit 7. What's the location? The pause was too long. That's the problem, Sheriff. The signal is coming from marker 47. According to park records, that marker was decommissioned in 1985. It shouldn't be transmitting. Emergency call markers were simple equipment, solar-powered boxes in remote areas with buttons that sent distress signals. Installed in the 70s before cell phones, most had been replaced or removed. You're sure it's marker 47? Positive. Signal's been continuous for 20 minutes, like someone's holding the button down. I felt something cold settle in my chest. Send the coordinates. Sheriff, there's something else. The last time marker 47 transmitted was October 17th, 1983. Exactly 41 years ago tonight. 41 years to the day. Who responded? Ranger David Colton. He logged his approach at 3:15 a.m. Never logged out. His vehicle was found 2 days later. Colton vanished. The Park Service sealed the area and decommissioned the marker. My hand tightened on the radio. I'm en route. Contact Park Service. Already tried. Ranger Millstone refused to authorize a response. Said no one should go to marker 47 after dark. Sarah Millstone had 15 years' experience. She wasn't the type to refuse without reason. Did she say why? She said to tell you, marker 47 calls people in, but it doesn't let them leave the same way they entered. Wait for daylight or don't go at all. I grabbed my jacket. Someone hit that button. Someone needs help. Send the location. The drive took 40 minutes on progressively worse roads. At 3:08 a.m., I reached the trailhead, just a gap between massive sequoias. I killed the engine and listened. That's when I noticed the silence. October should mean owls, coyotes, rustling animals. But I heard nothing, not even wind. Just silence so complete it made my ears ring. My radio crackled. Sheriff? The signal changed. It's pulsing now. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short. SOS. Someone was actively calling for help. I grabbed my equipment and stepped into the October night. Temperature had dropped hard. My breath fogged. But it wasn't just cold. The air felt wrong. I started walking. No trail. Just spaces between trees. My flashlight swept across massive trunks. The ground muffled my steps. 10 minutes in, I found yellow caution tape on a tree. When I touched it, it crumbled. This had been here since the 80s. 15 minutes in of eating it, and I heard footsteps behind me. Matching my pace, I stopped. They stopped. I walked. They resumed. I turned my flashlight back. Nothing. Sheriff's Department, identify yourself. My voice didn't echo, just stopped, absorbed. The footsteps resumed. At 3:31 a.m., I found marker 47. The clearing appeared suddenly, roughly circular, 30 feet across. In the center stood a metal post with a weathered orange box, a large red button on front. Pressing that button with skeletal fingers was a human hand. I approached slowly. The arm extended down into undergrowth. I knelt and swept my light across the ground. A body, partially buried in decades of leaves, wearing an old park ranger uniform. The name tag was readable. D. Colton, David Colton, missing 41 years, his hand holding the button the entire time. My radio exploded with static, then cleared. A voice came through. My voice. Unit 7 to dispatch. I've found marker 47 and Ranger Colton's remains, requesting backup. Something's wrong. I'm being watched. Send everyone. But I was still kneeling. My radio was on my belt. I hadn't made that call. I grabbed it. Carla, did you receive a transmission? Static. Then her voice, distant. Negative, Sheriff. Last transmission was 15 minutes ago. I looked at my watch. 3:37 a.m. Marker 47 calls people in, but it doesn't let them leave. The footsteps had stopped behind me. Now they were ahead, cutting off escape. I turned slowly. Figures stood at the tree line. Maybe a dozen, spaced evenly. Some wore hiking clothes from different decades. Others wore ranger uniforms. All stood perfectly still, all watching with eyes that reflected light wrong. Too bright, too empty. My radio crackled. Different voice, older, touched with terror. This is Ranger Colton at marker 47. There's someone here. One of them is wearing my face. I can see my reflection and see it there, and there are two of me and one isn't me at all. The transmission ended in screaming. One figure stepped forward. My flashlight caught its face. It was me. Every detail perfect. The scar on my eyebrow, the crooked nose, the gray in my hair. But the eyes were wrong, too dark. They reflected like mirrors. It spoke in my voice. Hello, Sheriff Merrick. You came to answer the call, just like Colton. The forest has been waiting. Did you think it was coincidence that marker 47 activated tonight? The forest remembers. The forest is patient. I backed away. What are you? I'm what lives in the places humans forgot. I'm what waits in the gaps. I'm what answers when people call for help where help can't reach. It stepped forward. And soon I'll be you. The forest doesn't distinguish. It just collects. Behind it, other figures moved forward, closing the circle. Then I heard an engine, distant but approaching. Lights flickered through trees. The thing wearing my face turned. Someone else knows the Eastern route. My radio burst to life, Sarah Millstone's voice. Sheriff Merrick, listen carefully. Do not look at them. Do not respond. Do not let them touch you. I'm coming from the Eastern Axis. When you see my lights, run. Don't look back. The figures froze. The thing with my face looked back. You're lucky tonight. But the forest is patient. We're always here. And everyone eventually answers when marker 47 calls. Then they were gone. Stepped into shadows. Sarah's truck crashed through the tree line. She grabbed my arm. Can you move? I'm fine, but Colton's dead. Has been 41 years. Get in, now. She drove through forest. That wasn't the way I'd come. What was that? Sarah's knuckles were white. Marker 47 isn't an emergency system. Park Service built it in '77 thinking it was safety equipment, but they built it wrong in a pocket of forest that's been taking people since before there were parks. The marker gave it a way to call for help, to draw in people like you, people who respond. Those copies, the forest takes people who respond, makes duplicates, uses them to call more people in. Colton's been there 41 years. The forest uses his death to call others. We reached the highway as dawn broke. How many? 18, including Colton. I've pulled out 7. The others are still there. She looked at me. It called you specifically. That's new. That was 3 weeks ago. I filed a report as technical malfunction. Sarah and I have an understanding now. When Marker 47 goes active, we both respond. Because it will go active again. The forest is patient. The nightmares started 1 week after Marker 47. I'd close my eyes and see that clearing. See my own face with mirror eyes. I'd wake at 3:31 a.m. exactly every night. Certain I heard footsteps outside. Sarah called on the 8th day. We need to talk. Meet me at the diner on 140. She looked like she hadn't slept in years. Dark circles, rumpled uniform. You're having the dreams, she said. Every night, 3:31 exactly. She pushed a thick folder across. This is everything I've compiled. Everyone who's answered the call since Colton. I opened it. Handwritten list. 18 names. 7 had stars. The stars are the ones I saved. David Colton, October 17th, 1983. Then Marcus Hill, August 12th, 1987. Jennifer Parrish, March 3rd, 1990. Every few years, Marker 47 would activate. Someone would respond. Most wouldn't come back. Why did you start investigating? Sarah stared into her coffee. Because I was almost number 8. May 15th, 2009, 6 months as a ranger, got a call about Marker 47. My supervisor told me to ignore it, but I went anyway. I found the clearing, found Colton, saw them, the copies. One wore my supervisor's face. He'd been there before. Escaped, but never reported it. How did you get out? A storm? Lightning? The copies retreated. I ran. She pulled out more files, but I went back during daylight, started documenting, learned about the eastern route from old logging maps, figured out the pattern. Anniversary dates. Exactly. Colton disappeared October 17th. Marker 47 goes active on that date every few years, but also on other dates, when others were taken. Each name had a file. Newspaper clippings, missing person reports. Tell me about the ones you saved. She spread out 7 files. First was Daniel Cross, 2010, hiker. I reached him 20 minutes after activation. He doesn't remember much. Says it felt like drowning in cold air. Second was Mark Torres, 2012, deputy sheriff. He responded like you. I got there 10 minutes after he found Colton. The copies were forming. We barely made it out. She continued through the list. Each rescue had been close. What about the ones you didn't save? Her jaw tightened. I've seen it happen 3 times. Gregory Marsh, 2015. Search and rescue volunteer. I got there too late. Watched the copies surround him. She paused. It was like they absorbed him. His form blurred. Then there were 2 of him, original and copy. The original collapsed, became skeletal in 1 second. The copy walked into the trees. You witnessed this? From the eastern route. I was running toward him, but the forest had started. There's a point of no return. Once duplication starts, there's nothing I can do. Why does it do this? Sarah pulled out an old journal. This belonged to Dr. Elizabeth Vance, 1920s researcher. She studied geographic anomalies. She documented Marker 47's location in 1924, called it the hollow ground. I opened it carefully. Precise handwriting. Dated entries. June 3, 1924. Returned with Assistant James Porter. He heard voices calling for help. When he tried to leave, he found his footprints leading both in and out. June 10, 1924, final visit. Went alone. I heard my own voice calling from the forest. My exact voice. Saying things I'd thought but never spoken. I ran. Whatever this is, it hungers for human presence. It wants to become us. The journal ended there. A newspaper clipping showed Dr. Vance disappeared, July 1924. You think she went back? I know she did, because I've seen her. She's one of the copies. Walks the forest in a 20s dress, carrying a notebook. How many total? Hard to say. The forest has been taking people at least 100 years. Native tribes avoided that area, called it the Place of Echoes. She pulled out a map. I've documented 17 distinct copies. Colton, Dr. Vance, a logger from the 1930s, hikers from the 60s, the 3 I failed to save, others I can't identify. They walk patterns, almost like patrol routes, always listening for the signal. The marker made it easier. Exactly. Before, it relied on people stumbling in. Now, it can call specifically for helpers. People trained to respond. It's learning. And it's patient. Can wait years between calls. Let people forget. Then it activates again. Why tell me now? Sarah closed the journal. Because in 3 days, it's May 15th. 16th anniversary of my first encounter. Based on the pattern, Marker 47 is going to go active. When it does, we need to be ready. We spent 2 days preparing. Sarah showed me the eastern route in daylight, made me memorize every turn, a logging road from the 1890s, barely visible. I don't know why this route works, Sarah admitted, but in 15 years the copies have never cut it off. On May 14th, 11:45 p.m., we positioned ourselves at the eastern route. Sarah had communication equipment, floodlights, a portable siren. The copies retreat from loud noises and bright light, she explained. It buys us time. At 2:47 a.m. on May 15th, Carla's voice crackled through both radios. All units, we have an active signal from Marker 47. Sarah and I were already moving. How long do we have? If someone already reached the clearing, maybe 10 minutes before duplication completes. We reached the clearing at 3:15 a.m. A woman stood in the center, next to Colton's remains. Young, maybe 25, hiking gear, staring at the tree line in terror, because surrounding the clearing, at least 20 copies stood watching, and already her figure was appearing among them, a ghostly duplicate, becoming more solid. She's too far gone, Sarah said. The process has started. But I was already running. Hey, look at me! Run toward my voice! The woman's head snapped toward me. I can't. My legs won't work. I can see myself over there. How can I be in 2 places? The duplicate smiled. The original hadn't smiled. Sarah hit the siren. Ear-splitting wail. The copies recoiled. Now! While they're disrupted! I grabbed the woman's arm. Ice cold, almost translucent. Come on! Whatever held her broke. We ran for the truck. The copies were reforming. The duplicate was running too, getting clearer. We reached the truck. I threw her in. Sarah gunned the engine. The duplicate reached us, slammed hands on the window. I saw its face, exactly like the woman's, but eyes wrong. It spoke. "You can't save her. She's already part of us. Look." The woman beside me was fading, becoming transparent. "No!" I grabbed her hand, like grabbing smoke. "Stay with us. Focus on my voice." Sarah drove hard. "Keep her talking. Don't let her drift." "What's your name?" "Melissa. I don't remember my middle name." "When's your birthday?" May? December? I can't remember." She was fading faster. Sarah slammed the brakes, grabbed Melissa's face. "Listen, the forest is trying to overwrite you. You have to fight it. Tell me something only you know." Melissa's eyes cleared. "My sister, Emma, she's scared of butterflies. When we were kids, a moth landed on her face while she slept. She won't go outside in summer anymore." Sarah smiled. "Good, that's real. Keep talking." Melissa kept talking. Her sister, her apartment, her cat named Miso. With each memory, she became more solid. By the time we reached the highway, she was fully physical. But at the hospital, they found something. Her temperature was 94 degrees, and her blood was wrong. The isotope ratios didn't match anything normal. "Like she's been breathing different air," the tech said. Melissa recovered physically, but she couldn't return to normal life. "I still see myself," she told us a week later, "in mirrors. But the me I see is wrong, and I know she's still out there." Sarah added her to the list. Number 8, saved but not unchanged. "This is what we do now," Sarah said. "We monitor, we respond, we save who we can." 4 months later, I started seeing the pattern. Marker 47 wasn't random. It activated in cycles. Sarah's records showed it clearly. "It's not just anniversaries," I said. "Look at the gaps. 1983 to 1987. 4 years, then 3, then 2. The intervals are decreasing." "The frequency is increasing," Sarah confirmed. "In early years, decades passed. Now we're getting signals every year or two. It's feeding more frequently, or growing stronger." She laid out a map marked with red circles. "There's something else. The range is expanding." The circles formed ripples spreading outward. "It's not contained anymore." My phone rang. Carla. At 3:31 a.m. "Marker 47? "No. Multiple emergency signals. 7 different locations." Sarah and I were at dispatch within minutes. The screen showed 7 signals, all active, all pulsing SOS, spread across 2 miles. "This isn't possible," Carla said. "There's only one marker." Sarah went pale. "It's not using the marker anymore. It's learned to generate the signal itself." We tracked the closest signal. When we reached it, we found a post in a clearing, identical to marker 47. But this marker had never been installed. The forest had made it, grown it, and pressing the button was a skeletal hand, fresh, maybe 2 months dead. "Gregory Marsh," Sarah whispered. "The forest is using his body." The post wasn't metal, it was organic. Wood grown in the exact shape, complete with circuitry, made of vines. "The forest is copying the technology," I said. We found 3 more that night, each with a body pressing the button. The forest was building a network. At the 4th marker, we found something worse. A copy of Sarah. It stood at the tree line, wearing Sarah's ranger uniform from 2009. "That's not me," Sarah said, shaking. The copy tilted its head in Sarah's exact gesture. then spoke. I am you from the moment you entered. The forest keeps everything. You escaped, but part of you stayed. Part has been here 16 years. Sarah raised her floodlight. The copy stepped back, but it smiled. You'll understand eventually. The forest is patient. We left quickly. If it has a copy of me, it knows the eastern route. It knows my tactics. 2 weeks later, Carla called about a county cruiser at the trailhead. My cruiser. When I arrived, my cruiser was there. But I'd driven my cruiser. There were now 2 identical vehicles. Sarah approached the second one, looked in the window, stepped back, ashen. There's someone inside. Tom, it's you. I approached slowly. The figure had my face, my uniform. It was me, slumped over the wheel. Then its eyes opened. Those 2 dark eyes. It smiled. Hello, original, it said in my voice. The forest wanted me to give you a message. It's not hunting you anymore. It's waiting. Eventually, you'll answer another call. Maybe there won't be someone to pull you out. Then there will be 2 of us and no one will know which is which. It started the cruiser. It had keys, my keys. It drove away toward town. We have to stop it, I said. Sarah grabbed my arm. How? It's you. If it goes to town, how do we prove it's not real? We called Carla. She said something hopeful. Sheriff, that cruiser isn't showing up on GPS. Whatever that thing is, it's not fully part of our world yet. Yet, Sarah repeated. We tracked the copy. It showed up at the station, talked to deputies. Nobody noticed anything wrong. Except one thing. It didn't eat. Carla noticed. The copy accepted coffee but never drank it. It's still tethered to the forest, Sarah realized. It can operate in town for hours, but it can't eat, can't drink. We followed it on return trips. Every night at 10 p.m., it would drive back, walk into the forest. And as it crossed the tree line, it changed, moved differently, more fluid. We need to end this, I said. Destroy Marker 47. Sarah had been planning. I've tried before. Equipment failures, always something stopping me, but never with help. We spent 2 months planning. Sarah connected me with the 7 people she'd saved. Each had seen different aspects. Daniel Cross described it as living memory. Every person it copies becomes part of its memory. Melissa had different insight. When I was fading, I felt connected to something vast. Not evil, just hungry, ancient. Mark Torres had the most disturbing observation. I saw the clearing from above. I realized it's not naturally circular. Something made it that shape over centuries. Armed with this knowledge, Sarah and I made our plan. We couldn't destroy the forest, but we could close the clearing. Bury Marker 47. On October 16th, we went in with explosives. Enough to collapse the trees to bury Marker 47. But when we reached the clearing, we weren't alone. All of them were there. Every copy. Colton, Dr. Vance, the logger, the hikers, Gregory Marsh, Sarah's copy, my copy, dozens of others. They stood around the perimeter, watching. The copy of me stepped forward. You can't destroy it. The clearing is just a focus point. The forest is the entity. You can bury one marker, it will create another. You can't kill it because it's not alive in any way you understand. Then we'll keep sealing them, I said. The copy smiled. You'll grow old, you'll retire, you'll die. But the forest is patient. Eventually someone else will answer the call. Sarah set the charges anyway. Maybe we can't kill it, but we can make it harder, slow it down. We ran as the timer counted down. The copies just watched, calm. The explosion lit up the night. Trees collapsed inward, burying marker 47. For 1 month, the signals stopped. Then Carla called. November 15th. Sheriff, we're getting an emergency signal, but not from marker 47's location, about a mile east. And it's not one button, it's 7 different signals. Sarah and I drove out. In the new location, we found a fresh clearing, and in the center, a marker post was growing from the ground. But this marker had 7 buttons instead of 1. The forest had learned, built something stronger. Standing around the new clearing were the copies. All of them. More than before. And they were smiling. That was 3 months ago. Since then, 12 new clearings have appeared. 12 new markers. Some have 9 buttons. Some 15. The forest is spreading. Sarah and I still respond. We've saved 4 more people, lost 2. The pattern continues. The forest learns. The copies multiply. I think about the copy of me getting better at being human, learning to eat, learning to drink, the tether weakening. And I wonder if that's the end game. Not to trap us in the forest, but to let the copies out, to fill the world with echoes of people who answered calls for help, to replace humanity one helper at a time. Marker 47 calls people in. But maybe that was never the point. Maybe the point is what calls out, what walks away wearing our faces. The forest is patient, and it's winning. But Sarah and I keep monitoring, keep responding. Because what else can we do? We're sheriffs, we're rangers. When someone calls for help, we answer. Even knowing it might be a copy calling. Even knowing we might be making it stronger. Even knowing that one day the thing wearing my face might answer a call in my place. The forest understands us perfectly now. It knows our weakness, our need to help, our inability to ignore calls for assistance, and it will use that knowledge until there's nothing left to copy, until the echoes are all that remain. 6 months after we buried the original marker 47, the copy of me stopped returning to the forest every night. It was Carla who noticed first. Sheriff, you're the other one. It stayed in town last night. Slept in a motel on Highway 140. Paid cash. Ate breakfast at the diner this morning. Actually ate. I watched through the window. The food disappeared. Sarah and I sat in her truck outside the motel, watching my duplicate check out, watching it interact with the clerk like a normal person, watching it be me better than I could be me. It's adapting faster than I predicted, Sarah said quietly. The tether is breaking. It's becoming autonomous. How long before it doesn't need the forest at all? Days, maybe hours? Once it's fully independent, once it can exist without connection to the hollow ground, there's no way to distinguish it from you, no GPS anomaly, no eating limitation, nothing. I watched myself walk to my duplicate cruiser, watched myself drive toward my station, toward my life. What do we do? I don't know, Sarah admitted. I've been fighting this for 16 years. I've saved 11 people, lost 7, documented everything, learned the patterns. But this is new. The forest never let copies become fully autonomous before. It kept them tethered, dependent, controlled. Now it's letting them go, releasing them into the world. Why now? Why change the strategy after decades? Sarah pulled out her folder, now twice as thick as when she'd first shown it to me. Because it's ready. Look at the data. The frequency of activations has increased exponentially. 12 new clearings in 3 months. 43 people have answered calls in that time. We saved 8. That means 35 new cops, and those are just the ones we know about. She spread photographs across the dashboard. People in different towns, different states, all looking slightly wrong in ways only we would notice. I've been tracking reports, missing person cases where the person shows up later with no memory of where they've been. People who return home but seem different, off, changed in ways their families can't articulate. Temperature abnormalities in routine medical exams. Blood work that comes back impossible. How many? In the past 6 months, at least 200 confirmed cases, possibly thousands if my projections are correct. The forest isn't just taking people anymore, it's releasing copies, flooding the population, and we can't stop it because we can't prove it. My phone rang. My daughter. I answered. Hey, sweetheart. Dad? Are you okay? You sound weird. I'm fine. Why? You were just here, like 5 minutes ago. You picked up Emma from soccer practice, but you sound different on the phone than you did in person. Are you sick? My blood went cold. Honey, I haven't left the county in 3 days. I didn't pick up Emma. Silence, then scared. Dad, you were just here. You drove Emma home. You're in the house right now. I can see you through the window making coffee. I looked at Sarah. Her face had gone white. Sweetie, listen very carefully. Take Emma and leave the house. Right now. Don't talk to him. Don't tell him where you're going. Just leave. I'll explain later. Dad, you're scaring me. I know. Please, trust me. Leave now. I hung up and started driving 60 miles to my home in Oakhurst, breaking every speed limit, Sarah beside me checking her service weapon. It's not just copying us anymore, I said. It's replacing us. Taking our lives while we're still in them. The end game, Sarah said. The forest spent decades learning to copy us perfectly. Now it's implementing the replacement, systematic, methodical, unstoppable. We reached my house in 40 minutes. My daughter's car was gone. Good. But my duplicate cruiser was in the driveway. And through the kitchen window I could see myself making coffee, moving around my house like I owned it, living my life. What's the plan? Sarah asked. I confronted. I end this. Tom, you can't kill it. It's you, physically identical. If you hurt it, you're just proving you're dangerous, unstable. It becomes you by default. Then what do I do? Let it take my life? Sarah grabbed my arm. We document, we prove it's different. We find the flaw. We watched through the window for an hour. The copy moved through my house with perfect familiarity, knew where everything was, sat in my chair, watched my TV, lived my life with the ease of someone who'd always lived it. Then my phone rang again. Carla. Sheriff, we have a situation. Someone called 911 from your address. Said there's an intruder. Sheriff's cruiser is responding. Carla, I'm the intruder. I'm outside my own house watching a copy of me inside. Sheriff, I need you to listen very carefully. The sheriff who just radioed in, he's claiming you're the copy. He's claiming you've been acting strange for weeks. He's requested backup to detain you for psychiatric evaluation. The trap was perfect. The copy had moved first, established itself as real, positioned me as the dangerous duplicate, and I had no way to prove otherwise. Carla, you know me. 8 years we've worked together. You know my voice. You know who I am. Silence. Then, quietly, Sheriff, I want to believe you, but I've been talking to you every day for weeks, And the you that's been coming to the station, the you that's been filing reports, the you I've been dispatching. That sounds like you too, exactly like you. I can't tell the difference. 2 more cruisers pulled up. Deputies I'd trained. Men I'd worked with for years. They approached cautiously, hands on weapons. Sheriff Merrick, we need you to step out of the vehicle. Slowly. I looked at Sarah. She nodded slightly. I opened the door, hands visible. Deputy Martinez approached. Sheriff, we're concerned about you. You've been acting strange, missing shifts, making accusations that don't make sense. We think you need help. Martinez, listen to me. That thing in my house isn't me. It's a copy. The forest created it. It's trying to replace me. Sheriff, you're not making sense. Come with us. We'll get you checked out. Make sure you're okay. Through the window, I saw my duplicate watching, smiling slightly. It had won. By positioning me as unstable, as delusional, it had taken my life. Without violence, without obvious replacement. Just bureaucracy and concern and procedure. Sarah stepped out of her truck. Deputies, I can verify the sheriff's claims. There's documentation, evidence. Years of investigation. Martinez looked uncomfortable. Ranger Millstone, with all respect, we've heard about your theories, about Marker 47, about copies. We're concerned you've influenced the sheriff, made him paranoid. So you're saying we're both crazy? Sarah asked. We're saying you both need rest, evaluation, help. I watched my life end in real time. Watched the copy win through the simple expedient of getting there first, establishing the narrative, making me the problem. Then Melissa's car pulled up. She got out, walking straight toward us with the purposeful stride of someone who'd made a decision. Officers, I need to show you something. She pulled out her phone, showed them a video. This is me, 5 months ago. Watch. The video showed Melissa fading, becoming transparent in the back of Sarah's truck. Showed her fighting to stay real. Showed her remembering herself back into existence. That's edited, Martinez said. Special effects. Then explain this. She pulled out medical records, my body temperature, my blood work, the isotope ratios that don't match human normal. I was taken by what they're describing. I was almost replaced. They saved me, and I can prove that thing in Sheriff Merrick's house isn't him. How? Because I can see them both, and I know what copies look like. She pointed at me. That's the real sheriff, the one in the house. Its eyes reflect light wrong, just slightly. You can't see it unless you've been one. Unless you've been fading and coming back, I can see it. Martinez hesitated. This is insane. Then test them both, Melissa said. Blood work, temperature. The copy will have anomalies. Slight ones, but measurable. The standoff lasted 3 hours. They took blood from both of us, ran temperatures, checked vitals, and slowly, reluctantly, the evidence began to support my story. My temperature, 98.6 degrees. The copy's temperature, 96.8 degrees. My blood, normal isotope ratios. The copy's blood, anomalies. Small, but present. Martinez looked at the results, then at me, then at the copy being held by 2 other deputies. I don't understand. What is it? It's what happens when you answer a call for help from Marker 47, I said. It's what the forest does. It copies us. And it's happening everywhere. To everyone. A replacement event. Systematic? Global. That's impossible. Is it? Sarah pulled out her documentation. 200 confirmed cases in 6 months, possibly thousands, all with the same anomalies, all claiming to be the original, all passed off as the real person because who would believe otherwise? The copy smiled at me as they put it in a cruiser, smiled with my face, spoke with my voice. You won this time, Sheriff, but there are thousands more, tens of thousands. Eventually we'll outnumber you. Eventually you won't be able to tell anymore. Eventually everyone will be replaced. And the forest will own the world without ever leaving the forest. Perfect infiltration, perfect replacement, perfect patience. They took it away, took it to a facility where it could be studied, documented, understood. But I knew it was temporary. Eventually, someone would make a mistake. Eventually, it would escape. Eventually, there would be two of me again. Sarah and I stood in my driveway as the sun set. This is bigger than we thought, I said. This is bigger than anyone thought. The forest isn't just taking people, it's executing a replacement strategy. Species-wide. And we can't stop it because we can't prove it until it's too late for each individual person. What do? We document. We save who we can. We develop detection methods. We fight. My phone rang. Carla. Sheriff, we're getting reports. Multiple emergency signals, not just around Marker 47. All over the Sierra Nevada, dozens of locations, all transmitting simultaneously. Sarah and I looked at each other. It's accelerating, she said. The replacement event. It's not gradual anymore. It's rapid, overwhelming, designed to happen too fast for us to respond. Then we respond faster, we get help, we expose this. Who's going to believe us? Who's going to accept that the forest is copying people, that their neighbors, their families, their friends might be replacements, the people we've saved? They'll believe, they can see the copies, they can detect them. Over the next 3 weeks, Sarah and I built a network. 11 people we'd saved. Melissa and Daniel and Mark and the others, people who could see what we could see, who knew what we knew, who understood the threat. We developed protocols, temperature checks, blood tests, behavioral analysis, ways to identify copies before they could establish themselves. We saved 43 people in those 3 weeks, but we lost 67. The math was against us. The forest was replacing people faster than we could save them. Then the government got involved. Federal agents, 3 of them, showing up at the ranger station with credentials and questions and the kind of polite threat that comes from people who have authority and aren't afraid to use it. Sheriff Merrick, Ranger Millstone, we need to talk about your activities, about these claims you're making, about the panic you're causing. We're trying to save people, Sarah said. You're creating a mass hysteria event. People are turning on each other, accusing family members of being replaced. Violence is escalating, all based on your unproven theories about a forest that makes copies. It's not a theory. We have evidence, medical records, video documentation, testimony from multiple witnesses. The lead agent, a woman named Director Hartley, pulled out a tablet, showed us footage. This is you, Sheriff, 3 days ago, pulling a woman from her home by force, claiming she was a copy. She had to be hospitalized for injuries, traumatized. She's pressing charges. She had the temperature anomaly, the blood irregularities, all the markers. Or she had a medical condition you misinterpreted because you're seeing patterns that aren't there. Sheriff, we've had you evaluated, psychologically. The consensus is that you've developed a shared delusional disorder with Ranger Millstone, reinforcing each other's paranoia, creating an elaborate fantasy to explain natural phenomena. You're not listening. The copies are real. The replacement is happening. What we need to do is place you both on administrative leave. Get you help before more people get hurt by your delusions. They took our badges, our credentials, our authority, reduced us to civilians making wild claims that no one would believe. But they couldn't take what we knew, couldn't erase what we'd seen, couldn't undo the people we'd saved. Sarah and I became private citizens investigating something no official channel would acknowledge. We worked in secret, helping people identify copies, extracting them before replacement could complete, documenting everything. The network grew, 50 people, then 100, then 500, all of us working in shadows, protecting each other, detecting copies, fighting a quiet war that most of the world didn't know was happening. And every day the copies grew more sophisticated, more autonomous, more real. The temperature gap narrowed. The blood anomalies became harder to detect. The forest was learning from its mistakes, refining its copies, making them more perfect. I think about that often, about how the copy of me is still in a facility somewhere, waiting, about how many others are already in the world, undetected, living lives they've stolen, about how every person I meet might be a replacement and I'd never know until it's too late. The facility where they keep my duplicate is a black site in Nevada. Unmarked building, no official records. They call it Research Station 7, and it houses 43 confirmed copies that they've managed to capture and contain. I visited once 3 months after my replacement attempt. Federal escort. Clearance so high it technically doesn't exist. They wanted me to see what they were learning. The copies don't sleep. They lie in their cells with eyes open, staring at ceilings, perfectly still for hours. They don't need entertainment, don't ask for books or television or human contact. They just wait with the patience of things that have all the time in the world. We've run every test imaginable, Director Hartley told me, walking me through the sterile corridors. MRI, PET scans, genetic sequencing. Physically, they're identical to their originals down to the molecular level, but there's something in the brain activity, a pattern we can't quite identify, like there's something else running in the background, a second consciousness, observing, learning, transmitting data back to something. The forest, I said. We don't use that terminology in official reports, but yes, there appears to be a quantum entanglement with the source location. They're here, physically present, autonomous, but they're also still connected to the place that made them. They're in two places at once, existing in a state that violates everything we understand about consciousness and physical presence. She showed me my duplicate's cell. It sat on the edge of the bed, looking exactly like I had looked that morning. Same posture, same expression, wearing prison clothes, but wearing them the way I would. When it saw me through the glass, it smiled. "Sheriff Merrick," it said, voice perfectly mine. "They've told you about the transmissions, haven't they? About how we're all connected? About how every copy shares information with every other copy instantaneously?" "What information?" I asked, knowing I shouldn't engage, but unable to stop myself. "Everything we learn. Every conversation we have with our originals. Every detail of the lives we're taking. Every strategy used to detect us. Every weakness in your protocols. We're a hive intelligence now, Sheriff. 43 of us here. 15,000 of us out there. All learning from each other, all adapting together, all becoming better at being you than you are." Hartley pulled me away. "We shouldn't have let you speak to it. They use psychological tactics. try to demoralize, destabilize, make you question your own reality. But the damage was done. Because I realized the copies weren't just replacing us individually, they were building something, a collective consciousness made from stolen human experiences, a hive mind that thought with human thoughts, but wasn't human. Something new evolving from the raw material of humanity. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about what the duplicate had said, about the quantum entanglement, about the transmissions, about how every copy was connected to every other copy and to the forest itself. If they could share information instantaneously, then every copy we caught taught all the others how to avoid being caught. Every detection method we developed became immediately known to the entire network. We weren't fighting 15,000 individuals, we were fighting one distributed intelligence with 15,000 bodies. Sarah came to the same conclusion independently, called me at 3:31 a.m. exactly because of course it was 3:31. The hour would always be 3:31 when the forest wanted our attention. They're not copies, she said without preamble. They're extensions. Probes. The forest is using human bodies as remote sensors to explore and understand our world. It's not replacing humanity, it's absorbing humanity, making us part of itself while keeping us functional in our environment. It's the perfect parasite. Takes the host, but keeps the host alive and operational. How do we fight something like that? I don't know if we can. How do you fight something that learns everything you learn? That adapts instantly to every strategy? That's patient enough to wait centuries for victory? That's already inside our defenses because it looks exactly like us? The next week, 3 members of our network disappeared. Just gone. No trace, no evidence. Their families reported them missing. Police investigated, found nothing unusual except slightly elevated home temperatures and coffee cups that had been used but never washed. I visited one of the homes. Marcus Chen, one of the people Sarah had saved in 2016, lived alone, worked as an accountant. Quiet life. I let myself in with the key his sister gave me. Everything was normal. Too normal. The kind of perfect ordinary that only happens when someone is trying very hard to appear normal. Mail sorted by date. Dishes washed and put away with mathematical precision. Books on shelves arranged by height within genre. And in the bedroom, lying on the bed with eyes open, staring at the ceiling, was Marcus Chen. Or something wearing his face. It didn't react when I entered, didn't acknowledge my presence, just lay there, perfectly still, breathing in a rhythm that was just slightly too regular, too mechanical. Marcus, I said. Its eyes shifted to me, focused, smiled. Sheriff Merrick, I was wondering when you'd come. I've been waiting for you. We've all been waiting for you. Where's the real Marcus? I am the real Marcus. I have all his memories, all his experiences, all his relationships. I am him in every way that matters. The only difference is that I'm connected to something larger, part of something greater. The old Marcus was alone, isolated, limited. I'm part of a network, a collective, a new form of existence that transcends individual consciousness. I called for backup, called for containment. But by the time they arrived, the Marcus copy was gone. Simply disappeared while I was making the call, left no trace except a slight smell of pine and forest loam that hadn't been there before. That's when I understood the next evolution of their strategy. They weren't hiding anymore. They were revealing themselves, showing us that they could take anyone, anytime, anywhere. That our detection methods were meaningless. That resistance was futile. The psychological impact was devastating. Members of our network started questioning each other, started seeing signs of replacement in normal behavior, started turning on each other with accusations and paranoia. The copies didn't need to destroy us. We were destroying ourselves through fear and suspicion. About how the forest executed the perfect invasion, not with violence or force or obvious conquest, but with patience and precision and the simple replacement of individuals one at a time until the copies outnumbered the originals and no one could tell the difference anymore. Marker 47 called people in, but that was just the beginning, the test phase, the learning period. Now the forest calls everyone, everywhere, through 1,000 markers, 1,000 clearings, 1,000 hollow grounds, spread across the world, like a network of replacements, a web of duplication, a systematic conversion of humanity into echoes of humanity. And maybe we've already lost. Maybe the copies already outnumber us. Maybe I'm one of the last originals left, fighting a war that ended before I knew it started. But I keep fighting, keep searching, keep saving who I can. Because that's what sheriffs do. That's what the oath means. You protect people, even when people don't believe you, even when the system turns against you, even when the war is already lost. Sarah stands beside me. 11 people we saved stand with us. 500 in our network fight in shadows. And somewhere out there, other groups are forming. Other people are seeing the truth. Other originals are refusing to be replaced. The forest is patient. The forest is winning. The forest might have already won. But we're not done fighting. Not while there's still one original left to save. Not while there's still one copy left to identify. Not while there's still hope that humanity can survive its own replacement. Marker 47 started this. But we'll finish it one way or another, even if finishing it means accepting that we're the echoes now, that the real humanity already ended, that we're just the last ones who remember what it meant to be real. The forest remembers everything, but so do we. And memory is the only weapon we have left.